All right. Good morning, Freedom Team. Hope everybody's coming off a wonderful, wonderful weekend. As always, guys, we do this 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. Monday and Thursday are about attraction. Tuesday, Wednesday are about transactions. And I bring up a couple things just real quick. Some more house cleaning. Out of curiosity, we only got a small group on here, but show of hands real quick. Who is going to EXP Con? Ready, show of hands here. Just Cat. Now, what about the rest of you? What is going on? Kelly, Chuck, Scott, Ty. What are you
I'm
guys
in
doing
Thailand for a month. I won't be able to make it.
for a month? You know what? You deserve that, young lady. You are 90 to nothing. What about the rest of you? Scott, you need to be coming, my friend.
I should be working on a calendar issue, but I should be there. So
Okay. Awesome. And what's the night, Kathy? What's the night we narrowed down? We're all going to have a get together?
28th,
The 28th. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's the
October
second day
28th.
there. It's okay. Perfect. Perfect. Well,
What
guys,
is what is the event again?
this is EXPCon in Miami, October 27th through the 30th. You can just Google EXPCon 2024. It'll pop up there. All the hotels, the events, the speakers, everything is right there. Highly, highly recommend. Ty, have you ever been to one before?
No.
Oh my gosh, my friend. Here's what I always say to agents, obviously in production. Worst case scenario, if you go out there and just set a goal that you're going to meet 10, 15, 20 agents, exchange cards, find some referral partners. Got a worst case scenario in the next 12 months, you just got a couple referrals out of it. Obviously, way more than pays for the event, much less the breakout sessions are truly amazing. You'll come back inspired, fired up, and ready to take action. I mean, they've been incredible. I think I've missed two events in 7.5 years. Definitely highly, highly recommended. If it's not on your schedule, see if you can clear some things up and get down there, guys. You will love it. Well, let's kick this off. We got a very special guest. We've had the opportunity to meet with Jon because he and I had this scheduled 3 weeks ago. He had something come up and he so kindly put his other business partner in place for us. Mayor, who came on here 3 weeks ago, did a phenomenal job. We were so impressed. We met with these guys afterwards. So I'm very, very excited to have Jon on here. Here's a quick little background on him. He runs a top team selling houses in Orange County. He consults and coaches the most elite teams in the world for growth and was named one of the EXP University's Instructors of the Year and for Success Magazine, 125 award winners in 2022. He does all this while focused on his family, coaching 3 sports for his children, and living an amazing life. He was also EXP Humanitarian of the Year for 2020. Right? That's mind-boggling. Thank you so much for doing that, brother. He also has 850 agents in his RevShare organization, and he's currently number 80 out of 80 to 90,000 agents with EXP. So this guy's a big, big deal. Has a lot of good approaches to how he does revenue share and stuff. So why don't we start off this way, Jon? First of all, thank you, my friend, for coming on. We sincerely appreciate it. Let me know if you want this recording afterwards for some shorts, whatever you might want to do with social media, and we'll get it over to you. But why don't we start things off so everybody can get to know you a little bit. A lot of folks are going to watch this recording afterwards. So give us a little speed, kind of what, if you want to share anything about your personal life, family, and then what got you into real estate and kind of take us along the journey up to right before you pulled the trigger to come to EXP.
Oh, wow. Be careful what you ask for, Sean. First of all, thank you for the introduction. Appreciate all the show notes and appreciate the kind words. So I'll be sure to drop your $25 check in the mail, and you'll be getting that for getting all of my accolades correct. Thank you. Truly, I will share a little bit of my story. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad you guys got some experience with Meyer, my business partner. He plays a foundational role in this story. And it's my pleasure to give back to y'all today. I'm very passionate about agent attraction. I do work with the best of the best, and I'm excited to be here to share with your organization. I do really believe that EXP is better when we collaborate together across all organizations. And I'm always happy to meet with other organizations and help them because there is more than enough opportunity for all of us. I think that's one of the, mindset is definitely going to be something we're going to cover today. And it's really important that we all have the right mindset when it comes to agent attraction. This is agent attraction, right? There's a reason we call it that. And what's really cool about that is that my people are not Kelly's people. My people are not Kathy's people. My people are not Sean's people. My people are not Chuck's people. My people are my people, just like in real estate. There are plenty of houses. People say, oh, well, Jon, there's no inventory. There's no inventory. Who here feels like there's no inventory? Just like be honest with yourself. Don't not be honest because you think I have an answer I want to hear. Like be honest with yourself. Like have you in the last 2 weeks sat around and been like, there's no inventory. There's no homes for my buyers. There's no listings to be taken. I don't know. Pull up the MLS. Search active. Tell me if there's any inventory. There may not be as much as there was one day, and there may be more than there might be in the future. At the end of the day, somebody listed their house yesterday. They just didn't list with you. Somebody joined EXP yesterday. They just didn't join with you.
Yeah, I think I saw, John, just on Workplace this morning, at least in the South and the West, Southwest, 36% increases in homes available compared to this time last year.
And I hear people all the time, like for an instance, right? Let's talk, oh, well, what about Real? What about what Real's doing, guys? Like you're up on your tippy toes looking over the fence. Like what's going on at Real? Real has like 15,000 agents who work there. There's 1.6 million real estate agents domestically. And if we remove the ones who work at EXP and then all those people who want to join Real, and then all the ones who don't sell any houses, there's still like 1 million real estate agents. And you don't have to sponsor 1 million real estate agents. Sean has a pretty big group. That's why he gets the fancy background and the Freedom Team thing and the big rev share checks like that. Sean has a pretty big group. Sean, how many real estate agents did you sponsor?
Oh, since I've been here?
Yeah.
65 maybe.
65 out of 1
It's-
million? Man, you took them all. Shoot. 65 divided by 1 million. What's the math come out to? How many zeros you guys got there before the decimal? That's the market share that Sean's got. Sean's got some serious market share, guys, because there's just not enough out there for guys. There's plenty out there for everybody. So I will jump into my story and why you should listen to me, because all those accolades don't mean anything. When I was a little kid, I had a really close relationship with my dad. My dad had me when he was older, and he really invested a lot of time into me. And when I was about 10 years old, I found out my dad was going to die. And he had a rare condition called cardiomyopathy. And if he didn't get a heart transplant, he was going to die. And this isn't a 2024 heart transplant. This is a 1993 heart transplant. And they didn't know how to do that kind of thing back then. They had just experimented with like pig hearts and all kinds of random stuff. So this was very cutting edge. And he was put on a transplant wait list. And he actually had to get sicker in order to get sick enough to qualify for a heart transplant. He spent months in the hospital. I grew up as a little kid going to the hospital every single day, spending time with my dad, playing board games, played Monopoly. Ironic that I would end up a real estate agent. As a retirement career, my dad ended up getting the heart transplant. The doctors gave him 5 years to live, and he ended up having 10. And the reason that I start with that part of the story is because I have a unique perspective that many of you don't have, which I understand the impermanence of life and the value of time. And so the first lesson I want you to write down and I want you to take away from this is stop acting like you have time. Stop acting like you have time. You all have something that you're going to do in the future. For some of you, that's revenue share. When I sell a certain number of houses, I'm going to do revenue share. When I hit a level of success, I'm going to do revenue share. When I sell a certain number of houses, I'm going to spend time with my family. When I get to this point, when I have a certain amount of money saved, I'm going to give back to my community. So if that's you, or if you're just human and you're on this call, somebody let me know. Unmute yourself. We can make this interactive. Unmute yourself. Tell me, when do you plan to die? Who here knows how many days they have left to live? Who? Just go ahead and raise your hand. I didn't think so. The reality is we don't know. And every single day I see people walking around acting like they know exactly how much time they have. All you have is what's in front of you today. The only time you can make any change is in the present moment. The only time you can make an impact, the only time you can do anything. So that was a big part of it. My dad lived long enough to see me get my real estate license. He was in real estate as a retirement career. My mom got into the business as well. They never built a business. They just sold houses. I didn't inherit anything. My mom stuffed all the envelopes at her office, all the little file things being like, my son needs a job. because she wanted to get me off her payroll when I was about 18, 19 years old. And I went to work for one of the top agents in the world. His business was just starting to take off. We worked together for 7 years. We sold $5 to $50 million homes along the Southern California coast. Sold Nicolas Cage's house for $35 million. I made a lot of money and I was pretty miserable. There's a theme here. It's called I made a lot of money and I was pretty miserable. I left that partnership. I wanted to work with normal people who appreciated what I did and needed my help. And I went out on my own and I started selling houses. I left all that business behind. He ended up making millions of dollars. This is in the bottom of the market. I left in like 2009. He ended up making millions and millions of dollars. And I ended up missing out on all that. And I was okay with that. And I started building a team. And I got a call one day from somebody at Keller Williams. It was a rainy day. And his script went like this. He said, I'm the rainmaker over here at Keller Williams. And I laughed. And I had already had experience with KW. Somebody else had tried to recruit me before. And so I said, yeah, I'll check out a class called Bold. So the reason that I tell that story is because he called me on a rainy day and he invited me to a class. I went. I was interested. All of you should be inviting people to events, to classes, to value. I wanted value. I didn't have value where I was. I wanted more value. I went to that class. And then I ended up joining. He invited me to a conference. So I liked Bold. It was a great class. I had a great day. I signed up for the whole session. I paid. I didn't even know I could go for free. I went up and I filled out my credit card and I paid. And then he said, hey, if you like this, I'm going to this conference in Texas in a few weeks. You want to come? Anybody know of a conference that they might be able to bring a recruit to? One that Sean talked about? Did you know that we studied this? I was a Keller Williams team leader. I'm getting to that part of the story in a second, but 95% of agents who go to a big conference like that, they join within a year. 95% conversion rate. If you have something that's going to grow your organization faster, let me know. Oh, but Sean, I don't have the money to bring a guest. I can't afford it. Well, guess what? EXP took care of that. At those other companies, you have to buy a ticket. At EXP, you get a guest ticket just for your own admission ticket. When you buy your ticket, you get an Explorer Pass for a guest. That guest gets to come to all the parties, all the events, all the breakouts, all the training. So I have a policy. When I was a team leader and I ran an office, I had a policy. I said, there's a buddy policy. If something is important enough to be on your calendar, why do you not have a friend with you? Why is there not a guest sitting next to you? Because you're selfish? And if we're honest with ourselves, you are. You are being selfish. Your ego, the reason that there's not a guest sitting next to you at everything that you attend is because your ego is preventing you from bringing someone along for the ride. There are real estate agents quitting this industry every single day by the dozens, by the hundreds, by the thousands, whatever number you want to use. There are people out there who need your help. There are people out there who do not have the resources that we have, but because you're afraid of how somebody's going to perceive you, or what they're going to think of you, or that they might call you a recruiter, you're not filling that seat with somebody who desperately needs what we have. Stop caring so much about what other people think of you. Start actually caring about other people. So I got recruited to KW and I started building a team because that's what everybody at KW did. They had a team. I crashed my business. It started to tank. I went down to from 10 million to 4 million. And then I built it back up and I built my business to about 20 million in sales. And along the way, I got the opportunity to become a team leader at the office next door. In 2018, I was the #1 team leader in Southern California. I recruited over 10 agents per month. I had the highest net recruiting numbers. So I didn't really care about how many people I brought in the door if they didn't stay. I was all about building a culture and an organization that people were getting their needs met and I wasn't making empty promises. And I made a lot of money, but I was really miserable. Go figure. And I had a guy on my team at the time and his name was Keith. And Keith was the only person in my life at the time who kind of called me out. And he didn't like what I was about. I was about the wrong kind of goals.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I was about money. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate you too. And I was about money and all kinds of things. I was living in, I was working in Newport Beach and there was a lot of temptation and I was really miserable. I felt really stuck. I didn't like recruiting at the time. I didn't like the quota that I was under. Honestly, I was not doing well. I was using drugs and alcohol to cope. I was drinking to medicate for my anxiety. And Keith was the kind of guy who was never going to sell more than one house. Keith would show up late. He'd miss our meetings because he was taking his kids to school. He would leave early because he was coaching soccer. And Keith was like, hey, John, we don't see eye to eye. We don't have core values. And I was like, I agree with that. See ya. And I didn't really care. It didn't affect me in the moment. I was like, whatever. This guy is like, he's got his shit all wrong. He is, he'll never make more than his wife. He's never going to be successful if he doesn't get serious about this. Like, he's wasting his time. And a couple months later, I got a call and I found out that Keith had a brain aneurysm and died on the soccer field while he was doing what he loved. And when I went to his memorial service, it was on a weekend in an industrial area, and I had to park way down the street, and there was like all these cars, and I like walked, and then there was like a line that took about an hour to get inside. And when I went inside, it was one of the larger rooms I've ever been in. It was like a warehouse, and it was 2 stories, and it was packed wall to wall, shoulder to shoulder, balloons, banners, posters, mostly young children and teens. And I had this huge epiphany, and I broke down and I realized that Keith wasn't leaving the important work at the office to do the unimportant work in the community. Keith was leaving the unimportant work at the office to do what really mattered. And at that moment, I changed every goal I ever had. And I realized that my priorities were out of alignment. And I wish that I had stopped drinking and all those other things and made all those changes, but I didn't make them all at once. But at least I shifted the perspective by which I wanted to live my life. And I continued to dig a hole, and I got myself into hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And I continued to abuse alcohol to medicate for my anxiety. And one day in 2019, I was sharing with a stranger on the internet, a friend of mine, friend from the internet, and I was vulnerable and I shared kind of what I was going through. At the time, I laid awake at night, most nights wishing that I was dead, thinking that my family would be better off without me. And she had shared vulnerably her story, and then she told me, don't drink. And so the next day, I woke up and I got really drunk. And about a week later, I woke up hungover the day after Thanksgiving, and I decided that that day I was just not going to drink. And then I did a second day, and I did 66 days before going on the internet and being public about it and sharing my story. And I've shared that story publicly over the last 5 years. I joined EXP. Well, I'll get to that one sec. So I shared very vulnerably over the years, and it's helped me stay that path, and it has helped me inspire a lot of people and change a lot of lives. And just a couple days ago, it was 1,700 days without alcohol. And I've been at EXP for about 1,675 of those. So that takes me to the part where I joined EXP, but I have built a massive organization. I've changed a lot of lives. I got the Humanitarian of the Year award for fundraising and donating over $1 million to causes and charities that I support. And I coach 3 sports. And so the reason that that kind of stuff is important to my story is because of who I used to be and who I am today and how I've changed my life and my priorities. And revenue share is a coaching payment or a leadership payment that you are made indirectly through EXP for the value that you bring the community. So we are in a competition with one another to bring the most amount of value to the most amount of people such that we can be recognized as leaders within this organization. And so that's what I strive to do every day. And I love to give back, and I feel very blessed and very fortunate. And the reason I tell my whole story in that entirety is because no matter where you are today, no matter what you did last night, no matter how much debt you might be in, no matter how hopeless you might think things are, whether you're suicidal, whatever, whoever's on this call who's struggling right now, who doesn't believe in themselves, who feels like they might not be able to get somewhere, I did that in less than 5 years. I have not even been at EXP for 5 years yet. So if I can do all of that with my life in less than 5 years, I'm here to tell you that you can do anything that you want in the next 5 years. I truly believe that.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you for sharing. That was very, very deep. So yeah, now you're at the point. How did you get approached about EXP? Did you already hear about it before you approached? And what was it that made you move forward? I
looked at EXP for 4 years. I said no when the company was 1,000 agents, 1,500 agents. I talked to Stacy early. I had some friends who joined pretty early. I met with a lot of people over the years, and I kept saying, oh, it won't work. Oh, it's too small. Oh, it's too risky. Oh, I'm too stuck where I am, etc. Which is okay. I think everything happens in its perfect time. I ended up being the one. We decided, I realized that the market center that me and Meyer owned was a liability, not an asset. And I talked him into divesting from that. And once we divested from the franchise, we looked at all of our options. We went to Coldwell Banker and Douglas Elliman and Sotheby's and every other company on the planet. And we wanted to do a very large national growth project. And we got offers from 3 large companies. And we said yes to Douglas Elliman, and we were going to run a national project for them. And right before we did, I had Meyer sit down with AJ Maida and had him show him all of the back end of his rev share. And I said, Meyer, you got to look at this. Like, we've looked at this a bunch of times. You got to look at it one more time. And when he saw the numbers and he heard the story, I said, look, if we just stack the pro formas next to each other, if we do what we say we're going to do at EXP, we will have such a better life, and it will pay us so much better than if what we do it for somebody else. And so we made the decision to come over to EXP and do it for ourselves. And thank God we did, because we joined 2 weeks before COVID. And the rest is history.
Love it. Love it. So I didn't realize AJ was you guys' sponsor. Didn't
He's
know.
not.
Oh, he's not. That's
He's
just,
not.
did you just watch a YouTube video, or how does he come into the equation?
AJ interviewed in our Keller Williams office in about 2017. And he said, hey, I have a team in North Carolina and I want to live in Laguna Beach. And how can I live in Laguna? And we said, well, you need to come out here. You need to get your license. You need to pay $2,000 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment, whatever. And he's like, $2,000 a month? I can't afford that. Like, that's crazy. He's like, can you work with me on the cap? We're like, no, the cap's 35,000. He's like, that's a lot of money. I think I'm going to stay in North Carolina. And so the little kid who didn't have enough money to buy it, to rent a $2,000 apartment, went back to North Carolina, and I had met him and we stayed friends, and I watched his story. And when I sat him down with Meyer looked at him at a bar. I didn't tell him he was coming. And he looked at him at a bar and was like, I know you. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I interviewed at your office. He's like, really? Oh yeah. Okay. Gosh, do you need a loan? Like, why are you here? And he's like, oh, Jon asked me to be here to talk to you about EXP. And Meyer's like, oh my God, not this again. And I go, pull up your computer. Go ahead, show him, AJ. And he pulled out his computer and he showed him. And at the end of the day, we interviewed about 12 different groups because we knew that what we had was valuable. And we had a few ideas on how we wanted to structure our partnership. And ultimately, we chose the group that we felt had the most value. And so it was between AJ and Dan and Kyle with Fast Forward. And the reason that we chose Dan and Kyle over AJ, because it literally was a coin flip at this point, is because a couple of years prior, Dan had asked us to come to an EXP event in Las Vegas. I told Dan that we would go, but we only wanted to go if he'd fly us private and like all this stuff. I made it kind of crazy. And so he said yes, and he flew us out there private. And then we decided when we woke up in the morning that we didn't want to go. And so we didn't go to the conference. And so years later, the thing that made the decision between the two was because Dan had invested in us and hadn't burned the bridge when we didn't show up to the conference. And so I tell people all the time, like, you may pay for somebody to go to an event that they don't even attend. But guess what? I put, 1/3 of Kyle Whistle's entire organization in his organization personally. So I think Kyle thinks that money was pretty well invested.
So let's start us off. So you end up coming over with Kyle and them. Take us from the very beginning, how you began to build your organization. What was the mindset, like you said, and what was the strategy you guys laid out?
We set up a pro forma. So we got a wealth chart. We set up a goal. We knew we wanted to grow. At the time, I wanted to recruit 1,250 agents to my group. I wanted to treat the entire group like a brokerage, and I was going to service agents on any level like they were in my physical brick and mortar office. My vision was to build the group at EXP with the most heart. I felt like people were talking about money and cars and stocks and revenue share, but nobody was being very heart-based. And so that was my intention. Turns out nobody cared about that, but that's okay. And so we showed up to work every day. We showed up, we decided we would work from 10 to 2, Monday through Thursday. So we dedicated 4 hours a day, 4 days a week to building our RevShore organization. And we started out trying everything under the sun. We took the top 10 recruiting sources from Keller Williams, started implementing them. That looked like events and direct mail and phone calls and everything you can imagine. And we started figuring out what worked and what didn't. And then COVID hit and we shut down the live events and we moved them to virtual events. And we just connected with people and we tried to figure out, who we knew or who we could get to know that we could add value to, that we could bring into our organization. And I tell everybody the first, 50 to 100 are the hardest because you're doing it by yourself. So, there's 10 steps to build to making over $1 million a year with revenue share. And the first step is to get your first person and have one. And then you have to build an organization of 2. And then you have to get to 5. And then you have to get to 10. And then you have to get to 25. And I know those aren't double, but it just works better. And then you have to get to 50. And then you have to get to 100. So there's 5 steps, right, to get to 100. And now watch how it goes from there. 200, 400, 800, 1600, 3200. There's 5 steps to get to 3200. It's the same work. It's the same amount of work, because you have to think about this in compound math. You're not adding agents, you're doubling your group size. The entire idea is, how many times do I need to double my group in order to hit my goal? That's how we approached it.
And you said you were mainly, to begin with, inviting to events.
Every-
So, but these were virtual events, right?
Initially, it started out as real in-person events. Then we pivoted to virtual events. Then we went back to in-person events. We were at the first build with Tony Robbins. When an event like that would come around, we would buy as many tickets as we could afford, and we would book as many hotel rooms as we could afford. And the cool thing about hotel rooms is that as long as you don't book on the group rate, they're cancelable up to 48 hours in advance. So your only real risk is the ticket to the event. The rest of it is refundable or can be canceled with no penalty. So we would build, we'd book 20 tickets, 20 rooms, 20 flights to, a Tony Robbins event.
So give us an idea, if you wouldn't mind. I'm assuming you might still be doing that today, even for EXPCon, but what does that phone call or that reach out sound like when you're inviting someone to an event?
The single best script we've ever given anyone on this is John Gletch had a ton of success with this. He got over 100 agents through sending this to a broker owner. Hey, I have just curious, we're going to see Tony Robbins in a few weeks, and I have an extra ticket. One of my guests canceled last minute, and I really don't want it to go to waste. Are you available? Would you like to come? No pressure. I just don't want the ticket to go to waste.
Yeah, that definitely had some leverage when they had Tony booked for those 2 years in a row.
And it can be anything, right? It can be anything. Hey, I'm going to this incredible real estate event in Miami. So we don't say I'm going to EXPCon. We say I have an extra ticket to the best event of the year in Miami. I'm going to be with all of my partners who sell thousands of homes a year. I would love to help you solve XYZ problem, or love to introduce you to people or whatever. I have an extra ticket. It's going to go to waste. Can you make it?
Okay. And then I'm assuming when you get to the event, if you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people with you, what's sort of the strategy once you're at the event and you've had a certain amount show up?
Yeah. So one of the problems with that, so some people are like, okay, but like I invited somebody and they didn't say yes. Okay, you invited one person, you have a hit list of 1. You think you can't get 5 people to EXPCon, make a list of 200 people and invite them all. Tell them that I got your hotel, I got your ticket, just say yes. I got your flight, whatever. Like if it's the right people, it will be worth it. So a lot of people don't want to invest in themselves, and they call 3 people, they call their low-hanging fruit, they call their friends. A lot of the people on this call watching this recording, trying to do agent attraction, they've been working on the list of the same 5 people for 5 years. There's a million people out there. Like, find other people. There are people who want to go to these events. There are people who will say yes, especially if you recruit them the right way. I say this all the time. Dwayne Wade, you guys know basketball? Dwayne Wade was not sitting in Miami being like, damn, I wish I could win a championship. I wonder what I could do. Maybe if I email the league and just say, hey, does anyone want to play with me in Miami? Like, maybe somebody will come down here and like we could build a team together. That's definitely not how Dwayne Wade approached it. Dwayne Wade said, you know what? I'm getting older and I need to win a championship. And the best chance I have at winning a championship is getting the best player in the league to come play with me. And his name is LeBron James. So I'm going to reach out to him and I'm going to fuel up the PJ and I'm going to get the champagne out and I'm going to get the little Miami dancing girls. And I'm going to show him what an amazing, I'm going to paint a vision for him of what it could look like to come down to Miami and be the keystone piece in the vision that I have. He treated him like he was the best player in the world. They recruited him like he was the top recruit. Good news, guys. EXP Con's in Miami this year. They already got the dancing girls taken care of. So when they show up, you want to know what their biggest problem is. The two biggest things you need to know about agents when you're talking to them, when you make your list of 200 and you build relationships, I can break this all down for you on exactly how you do it. You need to know what they're running away from and what they're running towards. What is their biggest pain point and what do they want? What they want matters a lot less than what they're running away from. Their biggest pain point is the single most important thing you could know about somebody if you want to cause them to take action. This is not just recruits. This works with dates. This works with your team. This works with sellers. This works with buyers. This is just human behavior. You want to know how to get somebody to do something? Figure out what they're running away from and figure out how to solve that problem and move them towards what they want. So we figure out that pain point, and then we help identify how they can get value. So show them, introduce them to the people, get them in the right breakouts, put them in the right environment, get them at the bar with the right conversation, whatever the case may be. Make sure they just have a great time. Know people. Some people want to party. Some people want to learn. Some people want to network. Some people want to solve a problem. Some people want to take notes. Some people want their ego stroked. Some people want coffee in the morning so that you're thoughtful and you took care of them. Some people want a customized agenda. Like, know your people. Build relationships, show them that you can be the better environment, the better broker, the better leader than the one they currently have.
All
I
right.
tell people all the time, if they'll get on an airplane, they'll join EXP. If they get on the plane, it's already done. Just don't screw it up. And this is very real. Actually, the biggest thing you can do in an event is not what you do with them. Get them there. That's it. Don't put them in an environment where they will be forced to leave. We have had recruits have sexual situations happen that have packed their bags and go home the next morning and never talk to us again because somebody got drunk and inappropriate and something made them uncomfortable, or they felt weird, or they went out to a strip club when their wife was at home, or God knows what. So honestly, the biggest thing you can do is you can screw it up with people. This is why I don't love it when our conferences are in Vegas or whatever, because there's just too high of a chance that things are going to get screwed up. But if you just stay out of the way, if they get on the plane, they're already committed. They already want to join.
Would agree. But let's open up for Q&A, you guys. Any kind of questions you want to ask Jon, if you want to get down to detailed verbiage, anything.
Yeah, I got some stuff too that I'll go over, but I would love to hear some questions. And then otherwise I would share with you some of my strategies, because I don't want to make you guys work any harder. I know you guys have lives, you want to sell houses, you've got stuff going on. So I have a few simple strategies that you can implement. And I'm happy to do a live demonstration. So if anybody would like me to hack their specific business and their opportunity, I'm happy to do I'll do this live with somebody if they want to be my guinea pig.
Ooh.
I'm happy to.
Kelly?
Who wants to do it?
Who just spoke up? Was that you, Kelly? Okay.
All right, Kelly, I'll do it live with you. That's fine. So Kelly, why do you want to do agent attraction?
To create financial freedom for myself and my family.
Okay, so what does your current freedom look like?
20,000 a month.
How much?
20,000 a month passive.
That's what you want.
Yes.
That's what you need in order to live freely, etc.
Yes.
How much are you currently making outside of revenue share?
Passive or active?
Leveraged.
4,000 a month.
Okay, so you make about 4,000. How long have you been in real estate?
How long have I what?
Been in real estate.
9 years.
Okay, so 4,000 divided by 9 is $444. So every year you work, so how many hours do you work per year selling houses?
I don't sell houses, so I'm not a traditional realtor.
Perfect. So how did you make money to make the $444 annually? Like, what did you do to earn the money for the investment properties outside of agent attraction?
Rentals and assets under management.
Okay, but how'd you buy them? Because you had to have active and you had to have
Right. Financial services.
Got it. So you did financial services. So how many hours do you work in financial services?
50 hours a week.
Okay. And how you take like a month off per year?
3.
3 months off per year. Okay. So you work 9 months of the year. Okay. So how many So about 1,800 hours per year. And how long have you been doing financial services?
9 years.
Okay, so same thing. So 9 years. So if we do 1,800 times 9, that's 16,200 hours in order to make your 4,000 per month. So the equation here is, do we think that RevShare could get you there faster? Right?
Absolutely.
If you put 16,000 hours toward revenue share, would you have more than 4,000 per month? Right? And how
Yes.
much you currently have now? So you're not a traditional real estate agent, so it's hard to equate to all these people, but I'll do it anyway. So what is your superpower? Like, what makes you great at the financial services? Like, what you do to earn active income? What makes you great at that? How did you build that business?
Relationship connection to people, heart connection.
Okay, so how do you do that? Like, what do you actually do in order to build relationships?
Get to know people, ask a lot of questions.
Where do you meet them?
It's all over Zoom.
You meet them on Zoom. They don't just show up to Zoom. How do you get them on the Zoom?
I do an educational webinar weekly.
Okay, so you have a webinar. How do people find the webinar?
I advertise.
Okay, so you run ads to a webinar in which you give people value, I assume, and then
Right.
there's an opportunity for them to get in closer proximity with you. Perfect. So that is the exact same thing that I would do for agent attraction, because that's what you're good at and that's what you already do, right? So what I would recommend you do is not try and do something different. Like, if that's what's had success for you building your business, then you don't need to become a cold caller. And so I'll apply this to everybody in a second, but take whatever you're good at, because it's already hard enough to get you to do something different. Your biggest challenge is not that agent attraction is hard. It's not that people don't want to join EXP. It's not that we don't have any value to provide. It's none of that. That's not your challenge. Your challenge is devoting the time it takes to build this business, because you're all little active income junkies. You all want to rob your future by dealing with your present. You want a $10 or $15 or $20,000 check today, and you think that what you're doing is going to get you where you want to go. The average agent will work 40 to 50 hours a week, as many years as you want to stack against it. Just hypothetical numbers. We'll take Scott. I'll pick on him. We'll just say hypothetically, Scott's going to have his best year of all time this year, right? Next year, 2025, best year of his entire life. Scott, how many houses would you sell if it was your best year ever?
It would be 40 transactions.
You'd have 40 transactions. Okay. Best of his life. He works all those hours. He makes all that money. Call it 400, 500,000. He has expenses. He's left with 300,000. He pays taxes. He's left with 150,000. He lives off 120,000. He's got 30,000 left in the bank. And that 30,000, he goes and gets a loan against that. So he gets a $120,000 property. I don't even know where you buy a $120,000 property, but he finds one in Indiana. He put $30,000 down towards it, and it cash flows $100 a month. So he just worked 2,400 hours to have the best year of his life, to end up with about $100 of cash flow. And that is the plan that almost every single real estate agent on the planet is operating under. And that's why no real estate agents retire, because your plan sucks. You're riding a unicycle up a hill in the snow. And no matter how many hours you do, and no matter how long you do it, and how well you budget, and how well you save, and how great you invest, and no matter what, it's going to take you 60 years to ever retire, which is why nobody knows a retired real estate agent. We all have the same plan. I'm going to get into real estate. I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to make my own schedule. I'm going to make an unlimited amount of money. I'm going to earn capital. I'm going to invest it in properties. And someday I'm going to have cash flow and doors, and I'm going to retire. Except I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I only know like 4 people who have ever executed that plan ever. So that plan doesn't work. And that plan was put in place by who? That's the plan that the brokers want you to believe. Because you are the sales force. Until EXP came along, there was no retirement plan for real estate agents, because it doesn't make financial sense to a brokerage to have you retire. Because if you make enough money and you get out of the game, then they lose their sales force. That doesn't work. EXP and Glenn Sanford said, that's not fair. Let's create a path to actual retirement for real estate agents that will actually get them there. If you take the same, not even the same, I did it in 4 days a week, 4 hours a day. That was just my plan. You can spend longer, you can spend less. Your goals are your goals. Your amount of money you want to make is your amount of money you want to make. But what I know is that the hardest part is dedicating consistent, focused time to building relationships, to fulfill this vision, to helping people see value such that they will partner with you and take advantage of everything we have to offer. And what's amazing is that nobody ever calls me and is like, Jon, I'm so mad at you. I can't believe you talked me into joining EXP. The only calls I ever get are, you changed my life. I'm making more money than I've ever made. I'm living a better life than I've ever lived. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me. So like, where can you make a crap ton of money in leveraged income that gets you your time and your geographic freedom and everything you ever wanted, and you're not selling crack? Nobody's like upset about this. Nobody's like, you talked me into a bad solar deal and now my grandma like da-da-da. Like, it's not that. It's literally like the most pure, amazing thing you could ever do with your life, because you're doing good, you're helping people, and you're being compensated on the back end, the passive, the leveraged income side, with zero liability. And the reason that I spend time educating you on that is because you fundamentally do not understand it. Because if you did, your actions would be different. If you understood the opportunity, you would take different action every single day. However, most of the people on this call, and I love you're all still on here, even the ones with their camera off, you're still sitting here, right? Most of you will wake up tomorrow and you will not change your behavior. That sucks. There are 13 people every single day who join EXP without a sponsor. There are 13 people every single day who join EXP without a sponsor. I don't care how bad Veronica is at this. I don't care if Veronica is the worst agent on the planet. I don't care if she's never sold a house. I don't care if she can't figure out how to turn her camera on a Zoom. I don't care. The bottom line is, I know just by the nature of the fact that Veronica's on this call that she would make a better sponsor than no one. Because when someone names Veronica as their sponsor, they get access to Sean and the Freedom Team and this Zoom and all the other Zooms that you guys do and all of the value you have. So stop trying to attract people to yourself. You're not attracting them to yourself. You're attracting them to EXP. You're attracting them to a company that's so good that 13 people join it every day without a Sherpa. It's free. Costs you nothing to name a sponsor. And yet they're going straight to the source because it's so good. And yet you aren't having conversations with people that want to join anyway. Imagine if you were. So I'll give you some strategies. Pick the ones that work well for you, right? So number one, make videos. Number one agent attractor in the world makes YouTube videos. YouTube videos work. Make a YouTube channel. Solve people's problems. Build value on the internet. The cool thing about video is you make a video and then it works for you 24/7. And the first one you make works for you 24/7, and the second one you make work 24/7, and on and on and on. I posted a 30-second video the other day. Last time I checked, it'd been watched for like 4 hours. A 30-second video had 4 hours of playtime. I have little virtual Johns running around the internet 24 hours a day, having conversations that I don't have to be having. I can be on this call with you because there's virtual versions of myself out there having conversations that I would have to be having one-on-one. So the absolute best leverage for your life is video. You should be making more videos. You should be making more videos for your sales business. You should be making more videos for your agent attraction business. If you have another business, you should be making more videos for that too. Video is the best thing you can do. I can say that 1,000. You should do more video. Sean knows he should do more video. Everyone on this call should do more video. You should do video better. You should invest more time and more money into it. You should have an editing team. You should have people putting out higher quality videos. You should be posting more per day, every single day. I can say this till I'm blue in the face. Most of you won't make any videos. That sucks. That's really unfortunate. I feel badly for you. I can't change your behavior. The math is the math. This is just math. Video is more effective. It's more highly leveraged. You won't do it. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. I'm gonna let you in on a secret. That's the way you look, and that's the way you sound. You need to get over yourself. People are going to meet you eventually. They're going to hear you. They're going to see you. You're going to need to get comfortable with the way you look and sound. Okay. Next one. Do any of you work with buyers? I mean, I know things just changed and all, but like anybody here work with buyers ever? Anybody here have like a buyer rep agreement signed? Yeah, I see some heads nodding. Cool. I assume that those buyers you're working with are not in escrow. Is that correct? They're not under contract for a house? Well, why is that? Probably because you haven't found them the right house yet. Would that be correct? Is it your job to find them a house? Is that what you signed up for? You know the best way to find them a house? Call all the real estate agents that sell houses, that have listings. Network with every single agent looking for a property for your buyer. That's what they want. They want a house. So reach out to every agent who does business and tell them about the buyers that you are working with and see if they know of anyone who has a listing coming up that would match that criteria. Be proactive. And in doing so, develop a relationship with all these real estate agents. And while you're on the phone, thank them for taking your call and invite them to something of value. Really simple. You're doing your job. You're helping find sellers for your buyers, and you're building relationships with agents at the same time. Do not text everyone being like, do you have a listing coming up? Because you won't build a relationship that way. You're all looking for a shortcut. I was with a bunch of successful agents the other day and they were all bitching about these changes. And they were like, man, these are all EXP agents. Like, man, this is going to be the worst. I've got 30 listings. And now my phone is going to be blowing up with agents calling me, asking me about commissions. I was like, are you kidding me? This is the best thing that ever happened to you. Your phone is going to be ringing nonstop with real estate agents that don't work at EXP that want to talk to you. This is a nonstop opportunity to build relationships with people that are calling you. Are you kidding me? Hey, while I got you on the phone, how the heck is business? What's been your experience with these changes? Do you have the resources and support that you're looking for? You know, what are you killing it at right now? I love to start by asking everybody I talk to, what are you killing it at? What are you doing really well? Because you know what that does? Everybody wants to say what they're doing well. Everybody wants to let their guard down. And then once their guard is down, I ask a follow-up question. You know, that's awesome. I love the fact that you're killing it at open houses. Do you have like a script or a strategy or like a playbook or something you could share with me? I would love to have that information. It sounds really cool what you're doing. I've always sucked at open houses. I would love to learn from you. By the way, like I'd love to repay the favor. If there was an area of your business that you would most like to improve or an opportunity for you to grow, what would it be? Once they've shared what they're great at, they will tell you where they want to grow. They will tell you where their struggle is. And if you know where their struggle is, all you have to do is get really good at managing the EXP pharmacy. Back behind me, I have the magical EXP pharmacy. And within it, I have the cure for every problem that has ever ailed a real estate agent. You want to learn to take more listings, you need to work with buyers, you don't know how to handle the forms, you need community support, whatever your problem is, you need to hire people, leverage, you want a retirement plan, like whatever you want, we have a solution for. So all I have to do is know what your problem is, and then I have to reach back on the pharmacy and grab the little magic bottle of pills that says, this is how you get more buyers, this is how you convert leads, this is how you do whatever, and be prescriptive and invite you to take advantage of it. Okay, find buyers, call those agents. What do all sellers want? Anybody here have a listing that hasn't sold yet? Guess what? Call all the agents who work with buyers. Are you pitching them? Are you pitching them? Hey, I know you work with a lot of buyers. I've got this amazing listing. Let's put a deal together. Have you brought your people through it? Hey, I know the game just changed. I wanted to let you know we're cooperating. You can't put it in the MLS, but you can call all the people you know who work with buyers and tell them that you're happy to pay their commission. You can encourage them to come through the open house this weekend. You can build a relationship with them just the same. And while you're doing it, you can find out what's going on in their business. You can invite them into our environment. You can offer them a little bit of that magic formula that's going to cure whatever's ailing them. Who here, Sean talked about going to EXPCon, networking with some people, figuring out how to pass some business back and forth. Who here would like to do more agent-to-agent referrals? I know I would. I love agent referrals. Great source of business. Where are people moving to from your market or for your market? And where are people moving? Go to a demographic map like howmoneywalks.com. Figure out, like I know in Orange County, people move from LA, they move from San Diego, they move to Vegas, they move to Texas. I know San Francisco, feeder markets. Are you building relationships with agents in those markets? So call and say, hey, I know you work in San Francisco. I work in Orange County. I know we have a lot of business that goes back and forth between the two. I'm looking to grow my referral network. I'm looking to network with more real estate agents. I'd love to talk to you. Can we get on a call? I'd love to learn more about your business. Would you guys be okay if they never join EXP, but they just send you a bunch of referrals every year? Do you have 500 partners in every market around the country of people who you know intimate details about their business? You've networked, you've shared success stories, you've shared playbooks. Is there a reason why somebody in Ohio wouldn't want your playbook or you wouldn't be able to receive theirs? You guys don't compete with one another. Have you taken the time to build a referral network in every major market around the country, especially your feeder markets? Are you calling agents in Miami? Guess who you don't have to put on a plane? Agents in Miami. Guess who you don't have to put up at a hotel room? Agents in Miami. How many agents do you know in Miami off the top of your head right now? Answer 0. Y'all know 0. Oh, cool. We got 1. Trish knows 1. You know how many agents work in Miami? A lot. A lot. A lot, a lot. More than you need. More than Sean's 65. Sean needed 65 to build a group of thousands. There's a lot more than 65 who work in Miami. But you're not calling them. I'll give you a real dirty secret. I won't tell anyone this. Homes.com has an agent search feature that will blow your mind. Homes.com, you can search by years in the business. You can search by number of homes sold. They have all the contact information right there. This could not be any easier for you if I did it for you. But you have to decide that you're going to dedicate a few hours of your day to reaching out to people that you don't have a relationship with. How many times can you cold call somebody? Once. Because after the first call, it's a warm call. Just reach out. I want to be a referral partner. I want to build my network. I want to see what you're doing in Miami that might be similar to this, right?
Hey, real quick, I'm going to jump. Kathy's going to kind of close out. Do you want me to send you over the recording later this afternoon?
Sure. That'd be great.
I do appreciate it, man. Tons of nuggets of wisdom. This is incredible. I hope you guys are taking notes. We'll get this video out today. I've got to fly. Thank you so much, John, and thank you, Kathy. You guys let me know if I can help you with anything. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll wrap up here quickly. So agent